I was the first associate pastor to Father Cahill, and I went out there in July 1st, 1975. I had absolutely no idea where St. Thomas of Becket was. And I met Father Cahill filled with Vatican II. And when I got there, he took out this envelope and opened it up, and it had the Archdiocesan coat of arms on it. And I went, oh my goodness, what's this? And then he began to read to me what the Chancery Office wanted me to do. Well, out of the 6 things they wanted me to do, I wanted to do 3 of them. In fact, really only 2. And so he folded it up and he said very clearly and very precisely, so, Father Shaw, that is what the Chancery Office would like you to do. Tell me, what would you like to do? And I thought, oh, I'm going to love this man. And I told him, and he said, all right, I'd like you to do this, this, and this. So he took like 6 things I had suggested, and he said, do these 3. But he said, also, I'd like you to do 2 of the things on the letter that you really don't want to do. And well, that's fair enough. You know, I get my way on 3, and the church's way on 2. And then he said, I'd like you to go and visit the homes. And I thought, oh, God, which was important, I knew, but like, that's real draggy work. So I had a little motorbike, a 50cc motorbike, and I went around, starting at Elm Park. So we'd advertise that I'm going to be in these streets, and then I'd head off, and for 2 or 3 days I just visited. I wasn't a priest at that time, I was a deacon. And I'd have to say, I probably visited, I don't know, 100, 150, 200 houses. And when I look back on the people that got involved with me, I would say 60% came from Elm Park.
In 1975, Father Mike Shaw was newly ordained, and we had a prayer group at that time, and Father Cahill assigned him to be the chaplain of the prayer group. And when he first came to the first meeting of the pastoral team, he walked in not knowing what the charismatic renewal or anything else was about. But he brought a big tome of the documents of Vatican II and said, this is what we're going to do in this parish. So we listened very politely, and when he left we said, you know, and what are we going to do with this guy? Anyway, it went on for a wonderful relationship for all the years that the prayer group met at St. Thomas of Becket.
Father Mike, he's just a youth magnet, you know, and of course when Father Mike was around, I was a youth. So again, it was very impactful in my life.
Father Mike Shaw had a big impression on me, and I think that's why I enjoy going to church so much this day. Father Mike was a wonderful preacher and gave wonderful homilies and was inspiring.
I don't think that we would ever have had pastoral animation in our parish, or even in, I think, the entire West Island, had it not been for Father Shaw. I really feel that he was very, very instrumental. He saw it as something that would enhance the education, the Christian education of the children. He saw it as a way to get the laity involved. It was certainly a way to start that. And I certainly thank him, because I know that when he called and invited me to attend the sessions, I kept saying, I don't think I can do that, Father. And his attitude was, yes, you can, you know, you can do it, you know.
Father Mike Shaw is notorious, and I say notorious, for being late.
The masses we had at St. Charles and Wilder Penfield, and Tony Baccangello, you know, phoning me and saying, hey, Father Mike, it's 9:30, we're supposed to be here for 9 o'clock, for there's 300 kids waiting for Matt. Oh my God! You rush off. I got better now, I'm on time.
But he always told me one thing about when you're out on the stage acting or performing, always embellish. Like if you throw your hand out, don't do it halfway, go right out with it, the complete way. So that's one good thing that Father Mike taught me.
I mean, one night, remember we were doing a little, children, parents were here for confirmation, and we were trying to express to the families, or to help them see that on the day of Pentecost, how this wind, you know, this wind of the Holy Spirit and all that came, and he got a fan.
And we had some ribbons, and we had a bowl with alcohol rub in it, and if we lit it, it produced this beautiful purple blue flame.
And he was just trying to get this across, that this was how it was to the apostles, this roaring wind, and of course it didn't really pan out the way he wanted, you know.
Well, we got accused of doing voodoo in St. Thomas of Becket Parish.
But he was wonderful for me as far as teaching and helping me to do my job, and was always there and came up with wonderful ideas and so on. And but I had a lot of good times with him too. Lots of fun times with him.
The other thing too that we have to remember is that when Father Hill was in the rectory, he would celebrate Mass in the chapel, but I had no way to celebrate Mass. So what eventually happened was that I would advertise where I was celebrating Mass, but the only condition is, 1, you can only offer coffee and cookies, and 2, you must have somebody off your street that isn't going to the church. And we'd have 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 people attending. In fact, sometimes we have more people attending there than we did at the chapel, And it would be advertised, Mass would be celebrated, and people knock on the door, and in you go. And it allowed them to learn about Vatican II and Scripture, and who is Jesus, and what about this prayer, and what are they doing in the schools. So oftentimes, you celebrate the Mass, say, in 45 minutes, but you'd be there for an hour, hour and a half. And it was a wonderful way of catechizing, and it got people connected. I love doing it. I mean, my office was my car. And that really has been, I would say, the symbol of my ministry. I've always been operating on the move. When I arrived, Father Joe Sullivan Sr. and Father Ron Lawson come in for 2 weekends a month. So they did. So each weekend, one of them was always there. Father Claude came a little later, probably the 3rd or 4th year we were there. But the one thing Father Cahill insisted, he said, I always want a priest at the front door to welcome the people. Now, he couldn't do it. He was in very poor health. And I said, okay, and I would go. But when we got Father Claude, he was sort of a happy-go-lucky sort of guy, And we would be having a cup of coffee with Father Cahill, and they said, okay, I think it's ready. We get ready for the people to come. And Father Claude and I would literally race to see who got to the confessional box first. And whoever got there first, then the other one had to go and stand in the doorway, And that was really quite amusing. I remember one occasion he had his heart attack, and I was in the parish by myself for something like 6 to 9 months. And no priest, Father Claude, I don't know why he wasn't around. Joe and Ron weren't around. So I was working in the parish about 9 months by myself. And I had the Saturday night Mass, the 3 Masses on Sunday, baptisms, marriages, the Masses in the morning, and so forth. I mean, working was not a thing I was afraid of. So I thank the Lord for Father Cahill, for all the people that love me and don't love me. There are parishioners who think I'm close to Satan incarnate. God love them, because they'll meet me in heaven with Jesus. But all the many, many more people that supported me, have prayed for me, have challenged me, have corrected my language, have interceded for me, have worked with me, have reached out for me, have suffered because of me, have grown because of the Lord working through me. Just so many people. And I look upon St. Thomas of Becket and the parishioners, and especially the older parishioners, with great, great love. They've done so much to help me become the person I was. I was a somewhat arrogant young man, and when I left St. Thomas of Becket, I think I was a lot more mature.
I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful